Khamzat Chimaev came out in that first round and he felt like he was double parked in front of the arena. The pace and the aggression that we see from this man in the grappling department is something else. It is something to behold. Usman has an incredibly high takedown defense. Going into this one, I think he had only been taken down one other time in the UFC. And he didn't even make it 30 seconds before he was on the mat. Look at this. Look at the way he's looking here right in the opening moments before this bell rings. He looks like he's a man possessed. Like he just couldn't be happier. Like this is the only place that he wants to be, like right in this moment. And he comes out there and he fights like it. At the start of this first round, Chimaev, he's always giving off this aura like he's just barely able to restrain himself. Prior to the fight, he's pacing back and forth in his corner. And then once the bell rings, it's like he's always in some kind of motion. A lot of head movement, a lot of upper body movement. He's moving his hands around, even switching stances at times. And I think it's great. I think it's great technique for him to do that. Almost as kind of what I'll call some default movement, right? He just has it built into his style. He's just always doing it. He's just always kind of in this motion. Because look, everybody knows how dominant his grappling is. Everybody knows that he's going to shoot. And any type of movement that he can use that's going to hide that, it's awesome stuff. So he's got these little movements that's built in, and it just makes it that much more difficult. It just gives him that much more of an edge as far as when he's going to shoot and when his opponent is going to start to defend. And then on top of that, it's helping him defensively in the striking department. But as we see here, doesn't take long for him to get off this first shot. About 10 seconds in, and he's already in on a single. Usman starts to defend. But the way Chimaev is able to chain these techniques together, man, and he does everything with power. He is a big, athletic guy, and he fights violently. Usman's able to get back to his feet a few times. Chimaev has his hands clasped around the waist, and he just keeps sweeping Usman's leg out, right? Just kind of constantly trying to sweep his leg out, break him down. And eventually he's able to get to a back mount. And he almost has him completely flattened out. I mean, it was at this moment right here that Usman knew it was going to be a long night. I'm talking, you still got 4 minutes left to go in the first round. And when we hit this point, to be perfectly honest with you, I was thinking it wasn't going to last much longer. But credit to Usman here, he survived the round. Khamzat didn't really land any real devastating shots, but he landed a lot of shots, and they add up. And he was able to land a few good ones here and there, particularly an elbow at one point, threatened with some chokes. Usman dumped him on his head at one point. He did this. He stood up. Chimaev's on his back here, and he just whipped him down so fast. I think it caught everybody off guard, but it is what it is. At the end of the day, this was a 10-8 round in my book. The domination was just too complete. Like Usman literally didn't have any moments of success during this round. There's some people who are going to dispute that because Chimaev didn't necessarily go out there and land anything of any real damaging shots, never really hurt Usman, so to speak, but the domination was just too much. So in my book, first round, 10-8 round Chimaev. Now we come out in the second, and it's flat. I mean, it's just flat, man. I mean, Chimaev comes out and he looks like a completely different fighter. Coming off that first one, I expected him to come out at least a little bit more on fire. But during the fight, I had nothing but questions, right? And it's not just me. The announcing team is talking about it as well. What's up with Khamzat? Why isn't he doing anything? Why isn't he pushing the pace? He had Usman in a position where he was going to be worried about getting taken down early in the round, and we're not even seeing a shot from him. And it's the natural thing to think at this point is that it's a cardio issue. As hard as that may be to believe, that we got to fight our Khamzat Chimaev's ability that he's going to blow himself out after only one round. Now later on after the fight, we find out that it was actually a hand issue. Okay, Chimaev went out there, he hurt his hand in that first round. He comes out in the second. Everything's different. Now, clear round for Usman in my opinion. It is what it is. The round was flat, nothing really going on, but you got to give it to someone. Clear round for Usman. He landed some jabs. He was able to get off a few right hands. Not much going on, not anything of real significance, but it's still his round. Now that makes going into this third round interesting, because if you gave it the first round 10-8 to Chimaev, that means Usman needs the second and the third just to get a draw. We could be in that position. But if you only gave Chimaev 10-9 in that first round, now it's one apiece going into the third, and it's up for grabs. And either way, each man had to be thinking they were in a position where they needed to win that third round just to have any chance at all. Now heading into this one, I jumped on Twitter after this fight, man, and there were a lot of people that gave the third round to Usman. But I'm not one of them. First half of this round was a brawl. Usman defended 2 takedowns. Chimaev defended a takedown. Both men threw a lot of punches. Khamzat landed some good shots in here, man, but at the end of the day, with 2.5 minutes left in this round, Usman was winning. Okay, he was winning more of the exchanges. He was busier. He was landing cleaner. There were a couple times in here where Chimaev, I don't know if he was off balance. I don't know if he actually stumbled. I don't know what the situation was, but when we're sitting there with 2 minutes and 40 seconds left in that third round, that's a round that Usman is winning. He's winning those striking exchanges just like he was winning them in the second round, except there's a lot more going on. But that's when everything changed. That's when Khamzat was able to get that takedown. Gets in there on a double leg, got the takedown, transitioned to half guard. And when he was in this position, he didn't really land that much. It was just a few little shots here and there. He's kind of staying busy, really nothing of significance, but he's got the control time. He's on top. He was in a solid position. He wasn't in the guard. He had transitioned to half guard. Eventually Usman's able to explode with about 30 seconds left, gets back to his feet. They both bite down on their mouth guards, man, throw some leather. Nothing really too hard lands, but when it was all said and done, I gave this one to Chimaev, 29-27. First and third to him, and the first round was 10-8. So impressive performance. Really good. Usman, particularly on short notice, man, he did a lot better than I thought he would. Khamzat Chimaev is an absolute beast, man. He is like a lot of people say, he is a scary dude. There is not a lot of people who necessarily want to go in there and fight him. Usman takes it on short notice, steps up to 185, a weight class above where he was the champion, and he looked good. After the fight, he said that he wishes he would have took it 5 rounds. He was offered a 5-round fight for this. He turned it down. And I gotta believe that he is kicking himself a little bit, because between what appeared to be some cardio issues and what we now know is also a hand issue, if this one would have went 5, man, very real possibility Usman comes out with the decision. So after this one, we wrap it up. We have to be looking at Khamzat Chimaev fighting for the belt against Sean Strickland. Man, that is going to be a banger. You know what I mean? Like, styles make fights. What do you guys think? Because the boxing that Sean Strickland have is going to be an absolute nightmare for Khamzat Chimaev to deal with. The grappling, the wrestling that Khamzat Chimaev has is going to be an absolute nightmare for Sean Strickland to deal with. Press conference should be fire. I'm going to be looking forward to that one, man. And what do you think about Usman? I mean, let's be honest with each other. He's 0-3 in his last fights, but this isn't some 0-3 bum. This is a dude who was at the top of the food chain at 170 pounds for a long time. And he looked good in this fight against the man who's very likely going to be fighting for the belt in his next fight. It's got, Usman's not old. He's not over the hill. He's got a lot left in the gas tank. Yet at the same time, I don't think he will ever reach the heights that we've seen him be at in the past. So let me know what you guys think. What's next for him? What do you think about the fight between Chimaev and Strickland? And did you like this one? Let me know.